And so I think that's really interesting to hear. Were there any other things that you picked up from designing that grad program and just generally seeing people go from the grad programs through the organisation? Were there any other common threads between people that really pushed on and progressed really well versus those people that perhaps don't have these communication skills ironed out as well? And can you speak to any of that?
Yeah, I feel like the grandfather of these graduates because a lot of them have moved to China, they've moved to the US, they've moved to Western Europe, they've moved to the UK, they've moved to Singapore, they've moved to South America. And it's really amazing to see them. And there's a couple of common threads in the people who took on more responsibility. I'm not saying that's the definition of career success. It was just their definition of career success. So number one, learn the business, not your department. That they were really good at. They would volunteer for projects that were cross-organisation rather than projects that were just inside their department. So they got to learn the customers much better. For some of them, that meant that they negotiated with their manager for 1 hour a week to listen to the customer calls from a contact center. So if you're in a really large organization, that's something that you would need to discuss with your manager, but it will give you a much broader perspective of the business. The second thing that distinguished the graduates that moved on, they understood the economics of the organisation they were part of and the outputs they're trying to create. So particularly if you're in government departments, it's very output driven. What's the policy? How does that connect to our citizens? And what are the budgets and policies that support that? And in commercial businesses, it's understanding the revenues, the costs, and how those things come together. So the second thing is they were relatively commercially astute. And the third thing was they were courageous. They were happy to reach out to the most senior people in the organisation and say, what advice would you give me? And a lot of them would book in half-an-hour coffees anywhere in the world with people. LinkedIn's an amazing tool that these people use to connect with people who weren't necessarily in their own organisation but had the skill set that they aspired to. So number one, network outside your department, understand what really matters to the whole organisation. Number two, understand the commercial or the output requirements of the organisation. And three, be courageous, reach out to somebody. It's rare that they'll say no, but what they might say is, I'm not the best person to support you on that. Can I make an introduction to somebody else who can? And James, you're a perfect example of that based on a referral you got from our common friend. And here we are having a conversation about listening.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And the referrals is really great. And I think networking outside your organisation is something that, at least myself, I know that networking within the organisation is quite easy because I can just go and look someone up and send them a message quite quickly, but it's outside the organisation, perhaps organisations in the same field or organisations that you'd like to work someday or something like that. It's definitely possible to do things like that. And I think this is an example of reaching out to people that you don't know directly, but you can network around very easily. And I feel like, especially if you're a graduate, someone that's a bit younger, people are often really supportive in helping you, giving you advice and trying to help you get to the places you want to go. I've found generally, I've almost received not many people are going to say I'm not interested in helping you at all, and I'm not going to let you know who else to speak to. I think that's quite rare. I think most people are quite genuine and they do care about you quite a lot as you're trying to grow your career.